Salutation, Ashes Nation! Today we are taking a look at the Collection of Ashes Round 2 game between Brancus and Carl. This match was played today and we will be analyzing their match. Here are the deck lists, we will reference them later, but for now let's jump straight into it. The game begins and we can see their first fives here. Brancus is going for his 2 books and Ritualist to get his 3rd ready spell. And then he has Sonic Swordsman and Glory Aspirant, which is likely going to find another Sonic Swordsman. Alternatively, it can find a Light Swordsman and we might see a die spent on Screaming or as a Lion Power. In the case that Brancus goes for double knights, he will have to forego summoning one of his summons, one of his conjurations. I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. Sorry, I am trying to be professional, but I do not have a script. I only had a little bit of preparation beforehand, and seemingly I have short-term memory loss. So on Carl's side, we have the 3 books, of course, Cinder Spirit, Indigo Creeper, and Seafoam Snapper, and he is starting Tidal Shift and Ice Trap. Now, this puzzled me a little bit. I know that you do not want to start a knight into fear. At the same time, Brancus has a tendency to not first 5 fear, so it is a gamble I would maybe take. But regardless, here Tidal Shift is likely to hit a knight because Brancus has a difficult time getting up to 10 dice without playing a knight. And it will allow Carl to get the Creeper chain going earlier by getting 2 Indigo Creeper down in round 1. So if the seedling transforms into thorns, the thorns will be able to give their tokens onto the second seedling. And then in the last slot we have Ice Trap. Now this surprised me because there are no ways to trade up using Ice Trap against Brancus's deck. So I assume it is only used as a tempo protection against either Light Swordsman or Sleeping Widows, as just like a super high tempo frog ping, essentially. I believe Carl is afraid of Brancus's possibility to go very aggro and simply erase him on burn. So he is trying to mitigate that by ice trapping a Widows or a Light Swordsman, especially since although he has not started it, Wolfpack Leader is always something you want to keep in mind when you are facing Koji. So maybe Carl is reading Brancus's read of trying to target the Wolfpack with Light Swordsman, for example. Although, as we've seen, Brancus did not go for a Light Swordsman spam hand. So it will be interesting to see how their hands line up. Alright, this is enough talking. Brancus rolled the most basics at 5 basics against 2, and so we'll choose to go first, probably to be able to establish his board earlier and be able to pressure the more fixed sequencing that comes with creepers and cinder spirit, because Lightbringer here can disrupt the normal order of operation. All right, and also this game may revolve around the top of round 3, and so confirming that he will be the first to act then may be crucial. All right. Brancus plays Summon Lightbringer, passes the turn to Carl. Carl plays a Summon Indigo Creeper, and passes the turn. Brancus plays a Ritualist, places Chant of Revenge into his hand, and plays Chant of Revenge. Carl summons an Indigo Creeper immediately. Brancus plays Glory Aspirant and, as expected, places Sonic Swordsman into his hand. We see Summon Cinder Spirit come down on Carl's side. He meditates Adept Duelist. Sonic Swordsman on Brancus' side. Nobody has attacked yet. Here, Brancus is happy to verify that there are no survival of the fittest in Carl's deck, because that would be dangerous in this situation. And we have it here. Title Shift, exhausting the Sonic Swordsman and refreshing the Indigo Creeper. I wonder if this is going to be worth it. Exhausting the Sonic Swordsman relieves a lot of pressure round 1, because now you only have to guard one Sonic Swordsman, and you can allow the trades with the 1/1s all day. That is not a problem. But the Sonic Swordsman, if they can get Sonic Pulse, that might be a major swing in the round. And he summons Indigo. What? Oh, that's a mistake. Okay. So Carl makes a mistake and tries to summon an Indigo Creeper whilst he already has another Indigo Creeper in the battlefield. And as we know, Indigo Creeper only has one conjuration count now. So instead, he summons a Cinder Spirit. No, he places a status token on Cinder Spirit. We see Summon Salamander Book come down on Brancus' side, and now Carl must be certain that there is a Light Swordsman in Brancus' hand. Nothing else, besides maybe an Old Salt, would make sense. Because there are no longer the dice to play Sleeping Widows. We see Summon Seafoam Snapper come down on Carl's side. Salamander Monk on Brancus' side. Summon Salamander Monk. Wait. Oh, wait, I did it in the wrong order. So, yes. Yeah, Carl plays a Summon Seafoam Snapper, and then Brancus meditates Fire Archer and plays Sonic Swordsman. So now Brancus's hand is on the board, and Carl has perfect information. Carl still has Ice Trap in hand, but it does not look like there are any good targets for it. This Ice Trap is probably simply going to remain in the hand, and Carl will use a Frog Ping instead. So Carl attacks the Sonic Swordsman. He will want to pressure the guard early on. He has a lot of one attack unit. He has a lot of two attack units. So Yeah, I suppose the intent is also to be able to summon the other Indigo Creeper as quickly as possible. So we see the trade here. Brancus passes. Carl summons another Indigo Creeper. Brancus attacks the seedling. Carl will guard. Carl will attack the exhausted swordsman with his Indigo Creeper. I'm not sure about this attack because Lightbringer will force the attack from a seedling. I could see instead going summon Cinder Spirit because there's no pressure here. The divine magic is not on its power side, so the Cinder Spirit is not at risk. And if Gloria Spirit wants to trade for Creeper, I think that's fine. You trade, and then play Seafoam Snapper. Oh, but then I suppose your Seafoam Snapper only has one life, and then it will get traded into by the ritualist. Okay, never mind. I don't know if you followed, but I think Carl's play here is actually correct. You will allow the Lightbringer to pull one of your seedlings, or you will play a Cinder Spirit. Actually, maybe you will play a Cinder Spirit, not charge it, because anyways, you're probably going to simply charge the seedling. And so you will simply use a Cinder Spirit as a 2/2, place a status token on a seedling and attack. And then Koji's Accelerate Growth will charge the seedling again, and then he will be able to pop the seedling. I think that's what is going to happen. So he trades. He doesn't guard. Reaper gets exhausted. I'm not sure about this. Are you supposed to guard actually? Just to save some time? Maybe not. Maybe it's better to leave your guard up for the other Sonic later on. Um, I think it doesn't really matter in the end because you're not able to stop the seedling, so your Sonic will die either way. Um, yeah, so Lightbringer pulls the seedling out of position. We see, right, Cinder Spirit here. It will attack the Gloria Aspirant. And Brancus will pass. The seedling will pop into the Brilliant Thorns. Brancus will pass again. Seafoam Snapper will eat the Indigo Creeper. And okay, Branches passes again. So in this situation, Carl is far ahead on board, but is at 12. And when you get to like 8 and below, there's a very real danger that Jessa can simply burn you out if she has a couple burn spells in her hand. So you have to be careful here. Carl is going to attack the Sonic Swordsman, threatening it with the natural magic and the 3 attacks from the Brilliant Thorn. It will be unguarded. And then Carl is going to try to trade the Seafoam Snapper into the Lightbringer. This will get guarded. Then was the Ritualist exhausted or not? Okay, the Ritualist was unexhausted. Okay. Right, so I suppose Yeah, again, it does the same thing either way, whichever you ping and whichever you attack with the Brilliant Thorns, because the guards are down. All you want to ensure is that Branches cannot kill the seedling, I suppose? Yeah. If Branches was able to kill the seedlings, that might help, because then the Brilliant Thorns inherit only into the Cinder Spirit and nothing else. Yeah, the Cinder Spirit gets killed, and here the Brilliant Thorn will finish off this Light Swordsman, the Sonic Swordsman. Alright, we go into the next round, and Carl is going to start the round with a fresh, fully ready to blossom luminous seedling. And he still has his Ice Trap in hand. Although he has all basics in his nature dice. So the draws here are Sympathy Pain, Light Swordsman, Sleeping Widows, Fire Archer for Brancus. A very aggressive, very hard-hitting hand here. Very high tempo. On Carl's side, he still has his Ice Trap. He drew a Root Armor, a Fate Reflection, a Cinder Spirit book, and another Ice Trap. Here I expect him to pop the seedling immediately. Or, yeah, I think you have to pop the seedling immediately just to play around fear. Yeah, that's what he does. And then he will meditate up to 2 frog for his ice traps and possibly his indigo creeper. He will meditate the not particularly useful root armor. And then Brancus will Lightbringer one of these Brilliant Thorns or the Seafoam Snapper out of position. Carl will attack with a Brilliant Thorn into Lightbringer. They trade, and Brancus plays Sleeping Widows, and we see the Ice Trap as just a temple frog ping. And then Brancus summons a Light Swordsman to threaten the Brilliant Thorn, but Ice Trap is here to trade with it. Brancus, as his main action, then summons a Salamander Monk. Get some blockers ready. Carl will summon an Indigo Creeper. Brancus will summon his other Light Swordsman, and either break guard or Carl may sacrifice the Brilliant Thorn just to protect. Although against those specific 3 dice left, I think Carl does not have to fear breaking his guard too early, because nothing is particularly dangerous in those colors. The worst that could happen is something like an Old Salt trading with a Cinder Spirit. So I think here I would guard. There's no reason to play scared. The other thing, I suppose, is Sleeping Widows, but Sleeping Widows, you can also attack into it, right, yourself. You can attack into it yourself. Yeah, so Carl will guard this, deny the quick strike value, and he will attack straight into the Widows, as I called. Now here for Brancus, I don't think you can afford to guard. It's too dangerous. Like I think, because if you guard here, you can kill the Brilliant Thorn, arguably. That's not necessarily bad. Because yeah, like what else are you protecting with your guard? I don't know. You're protecting tempo if you're trying to remove a seedling, for example. But we'll see. He does guard, okay. And he goes for the sympathy pain to the face. He is trying to race here. Is Carl going to be able to deal 15 damage before he dies at 7 life? It's not clear. He's at 6 technically from Chain of Revenge, and 5 from Fire Archer. We see Sleeping Widows going to trade with Brilliant Thorn. And he screams, yeah. So Carl is going to be at 4 life. Very low. If Brancus draws more burn at the top of the round, Carl is going to be in a bad shape. At the same time, Carl is up 4 dice and has a fresh seedling ready to be Cinder Spirited and Accelerate Growthed. Those are not verbs. I am tired and saying words. Anyways, Fire Archer comes down because there's nothing, I think. You could technically just bluff fear, try to make Carl play scared, but the value is not necessarily there. I'm not sure. I think I'd still bluff fear just to hedge my bets because until Carl plays more units, having the Fire Archer on board or not does not really matter. You're just giving Carl more information. Anyways, we see Cinder Spirit being played, going to put a status token on Luminous Ceiling. And Carl does have the other Cinder Spirit book, which is going to pair nicely here. He will be able to actually charge everything here. Blossom the Luminous Ceiling, charge the Cinder Spirit off of the Cinder Spirit, and charge the other Cinder Spirit off of the Time Magic. Here we see Seafoam Snapper going to trade into the Fire Archer, just trying to prevent Brancus from being able to kill the Cinder Spirits. Because here, if Salamander Monk attack the Spirit, the other Snapper is just going to kill the Lightbringer. We see the book come down, and this is just a matter of going through the motion. It is fairly trivial, I think, to play this out. You will want to ping off those units with your Cinder Spirits and not necessarily waste attacking power into them. You will have to get through the Salamander Monk, which might be a little bit bothersome, but it should be fine. I think, yeah, if you double ping the Salamander Monk, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 12, 8 damage here. Yeah, that's 8 damage, gonna leave Brancus at 7 life. That is if Carl decides to ping only the Salamander Monk and not clean up the Light Swordsman or the Lightbringer. We will see what he chooses. So here, yeah, the Lightbringer attacked the exhausted Seafoam Snapper. I think I don't think I like this move. I think you're supposed to just leave it behind. Make sure that Carl is wasting an attacker into it. Because you have top of round 2, right? So you only need to stay alive for long enough. You don't really... Wait, maybe not, because cleaning up the Seafoam Snapper does remove a little bit of damage for the top of round. At the same time, if you go top of round and you get like a meteor, that doesn't matter anymore. So we'll depend if he gets punished or not. Here we see, okay, so Carl is going to clean up more units, so he will trade with the Salamander Monk here, so that he can ping the Ghost And the Light Swordsman, probably. Yep. Yeah, exactly. We see this. He attacks for 6 and cleans up the Growth and the Light Swordsman. And then he will pop the ceiling with the Time Power and attack for another 6. And then he will get to charge his Seafoam Slapper again. Brancus is at... Oh, Brancus is on 3. I miscounted. Where did I miscount? He was at... Oh, he was at 15 and he took 12, not 8. I don't know where I miscounted. I think I counted them as if they only got 2. But no, they deal 3. Yeah, Brancus at 3. And he does not have Meteor dice up. Ooh, this is a tough spot. You would need, like... What's a winning game for Brancus here? Like, because even if you have widows, you are not saved. Because not only can call nature magic away the Lightbringer and then ping the widows off, but even if he doesn't do that, he can ping the Lightbringer, and then when the widows come down, he can ping one of the widows, and then his unit still comes through. He would need... I don't know, what does he have in his deck? Because if Carl was at 3, then the Burn spell plus Scream of the Departed would work. Maybe Fire Archer plus Final Cry would do it. Oh, but he does not have... Yeah, so play Fire Archer, met up for Final Cry, that would work. If he draws that. Or like, draw Fire Archer, met up for... No, Sympathy Pain does not work anymore because if Brancus dies, it will be because of his Cinder Spirit attack. Alright, let's see what they draw. Ooh, bad draws. Those are bad draws. I mean, yeah, bad draws for Brancus. For Carl, yeah, it's just like pretty good. He's got allies if the round goes longer, but it won't go longer. Reverberate to get more tempo if we need it, but he doesn't really need it. So Brancus, if he goes Meteor on 1, he can then play Summon Sleeping Widows, and he meditates upright. He can then play Summon Sleeping Widows, Scream, and then... Wait, he does have a win, right? So he goes Meteor. Oh wait, no, you can't meditate with Meteor. Oh no. Oh no. What else works? You go Fear. You go Meditate up Fear. Meditate up Fear, Widows, and Scream. Then Carl is at 3. And then Carl has to kill the Widows. And then Brancus will get Final Cry. I think if Brancus lost, it wasn't a misplay, right? Let me think about this again. You go Meditate up your ceremonials. You go Fear. Kill the Lightbringer. Is it Destroy or Destroy? It's Destroy, right? So you kill the Lightbringer. You discard Cinder Spirit. You get Sleeping Widows on the board. And you are holding up Final Cry and Scream of the Departed. And Carl cannot get through this. And of course, you also meditate up for a meteor, so that if Carl just like passes or gets passive with it, you can just meteor the board and then scream and final cry. Yeah, I think it's just a mistake. I think Brancus could have won this. Oh no, no. Yeah, this is game. Oh no. But Brancus had the win here. Brancus had the win. He had and he had 16 minutes on the clock. Guys, you are playing way too fast. If you have more than 15 minutes on your clock at the end of the game, you are playing too fast. There is more time you could have used to think. There is more time you could have used to solve the board, think about your opponent's outs, think about their hands, what you can play around. Here, like, if you're Brancus, what did you have to play around if going for the fear play 9? It was... What did it lose to? Accelerate into... There's no time stopper here. Because basically the only way that Brancus loses in my variation is if he goes Fear, Summon Sleeping Widows, and Carl manages to get... Oh, yeah. So if he gets Widows on the board, Carl will have to ping one of the Widows down. Because the Cinder Spirit here will be gone, so it will be 2-on-2, and he will need to get the Cinder Spirit to connect, or the Seafoam Snap. Yeah, in fact, even if you don't have Final Cry, right? So, I'll I'll type out the moves that he was supposed to play, right? So Branches here was supposed to meditate, goat, 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 lion, lion, and just to, for a good measure, probably a horse too. Okay, that doesn't work, right? So you're gonna have to follow what I'm saying aloud. Or maybe there's a way to type out stuff in OBS. I'm not sure. I don't know where to do that actually. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I'll just have to say it out loud, right? Let's recap the play line, right? You meditate a goat, a goat, a goat, a lion, and a horse, right? You won't need those anymore. Then you cast Fear. You discard Lightbringer. You will not heal because Lightbringer does not have Recover. But this will trigger Summon Sleeping Widows and Screams of the Departed, and it will discard Cinder Spirit. So Cinder Spirit is gone now. Lightbringer is gone, and you have 2 Widows on the board, and a goat, and 2 goats in your dice pool here, in terms of ceremonial dice. You pass the turn, Carl is on 3 right now. Right, and yeah, you screams with like a divine die, right? It doesn't really matter. The only out for Carl would be some sort of accelerate play, right? Let's think about this. What are the outs for Carl? Because After Image doesn't trigger here because it's a discard. It's not a destroy. And Carl only has one side action unit that does not require like setup, right? And the only side action removal that does not kill is already in the graveyard, in the discard. So one of the things you will have to play around is ice trap. Because if you do this, then you get ice trap. So the only play line that loses, and this is like such a ridiculous situation that you are not supposed to play around it, right? But the only way that Carl still survives in that scenario where he has a Seafoam Snapper, a Cinder Spirit against two Widows is if when Brancus plays Summon Sleeping Widows, he ice traps one of them, and then he gets a Adept Duelist. Oh wait, but the Adept Duelist is in the graveyard. That's not even in the discard. That's not even an out, right? Because the way that card could win is if he gets Adept Duelist and one removal for the Widows before Final Cry is online, when Brancus does not have his reaction. Because then you have Seafoam Snapper, Cinder Spirit, and a Adept Duelist against only one Sleeping Widow. And then what Carl can do to play around Final Cry, but not around Sympathy Paints, alright? Like, this is a ridiculous out. You should not play around this. But this is the theoretical. In this scenario, where Carl has ice trapped one of the widows, there is one widow versus one Seafoam Snapper, one Cinder Spirit, and also in the world where Carl is holding an Adept Duelist that is in the discard right now, but in the world where he has it in hand, he would play it and attack, and then the Widows would have to block the Cinder Spirit, but since the active player chooses Attack Resolution, you would be able to deal 4 damage to Brancus before killing the Widow. And that would be an out that could have worked if Adept Duelist was in the discard, and if, of course, like Carl had the perfect hand. But Carl did not have the perfect hand, he didn't even have Ice Trap in hand, and there were no other outs. So I'm really sorry to say this, but like Brancus, yeah, you could have won. Alright, this has been going for super long. I will be releasing this this recording pretty soon. When I get it uploaded on YouTube. Hopefully the audio is good. Hopefully the visuals are good. And you don't miss seeing my face too much. Alright. Bye bye. I still need to figure out an intro.